All right, let's attempt to find out at least what's going on in the camp of these two parties as we get into the crucial stage of the presidential elections. We'll start with these two. Mark?
Well, you definitely can see the last-minute campaigns and how, both parties are trying to pull the crowd or pull as many people as they can to their rallies, as it is a show of strength. But this morning, I'm being joined in the studio by two gentlemen. Sulaiman Abba is a member of the Security and Intelligence Committee of the Presidential Campaign Council and member of the Advisory Council, APC Women and Youth Presidential Campaign Team. He's also the former Inspector General of Police. Mr. Abba, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
I'm glad to be here.
I also have with me Mr. Sani Umar, who is spokesperson, Presidential Campaign Council of the People's Democratic Party. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily, sir.
Thank you, Maupe.
Well, both your candidates are on the trail. It's their last-minute push towards telling voters what it is that they are selling to them and what they are promising them. If either of them, because they're the two major frontrunners, if either of them should win come Saturday this week. Is it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday this week. How many days to go? It's about 5 or 6 days to go.
5 days, exactly.
Let's start with the promises that, both your candidates are making. Let's quickly take a look at some of the promises that the APC and the PDP are making. Let's start with the PDP. Your party, the People's Democratic Party, and your presidential candidate has promised to end Boko Haram.
Yes.
How do you intend to do that?
Well, I'm sure the issues before the coming of the APC were very, very clear. That the Boko Haram were, they were moved away from to the fringes of our border. Mm-hmm. And that we were about ending the Boko Haram when the APC came in with their new style, which is to mobilize the whole the military department to the borders, and yet it has not even generated any effect. In any case, let me say clearly now that the strategies of the Boko Haram has, continually changed. Initially, the Boko Haram were more or less interested in soft targets. They were interested in coming into the hinterland to cause panic, to cause chaos, to cause anarchy. However, now that they realize that the best way to win a war is to attack the military, they have now strategized and they are attacking our military, killing our military. Now, the military is poorly equipped. It is not adequately trained in modern warfare. It is not experienced, even with the long-time battle in this art. That is why when Jonathan was around and he was buying arms, what he was doing was that for every country, like Belarus, where we went to buy arms, and so the people must come and operate the arms along with our military, so that the military will be well, equipped to understand the nuances of those weapons and be able to launch spurious attacks on the insurgents. Now the issues have changed and the military are being killed. And so once your military is being killed, the strength of the sovereignty of the nation is under threat. Mm. And once the sovereignty of the nation is under threat, people are vulnerable. Because once your military is finished, then the people are already captured. Mm. So our task now is to fully equip the military, to fully mobilize the military, and to fully train them to be able to, to meet these challenges, because they are new challenges. They are challenges that are not normal. They are like guerrilla warfare. Mm. It is not in conventional warfare where you stand by the other side. And
that's the reason why people are curious as to how you plan to end it, because we've been told that insurgency by itself, because of its nature, doesn't die. Yes. You can only bring it to the barest minimum. You might still have, the occasional attacks. Maybe I don't know whether that is really, but that's what we've been told. We've seen situations in other parts, even in the most developed countries, how they still suffer, attacks from terrorists, from people who try to cause panic and fear. And so they argue that you might not be able to kill it completely. What you might be able to do is bring it down to the barest minimum.
Yeah, you see, insurgency generally, yes, all over the world is a continuum. But people have been, for instance, what has happened in Syria has shown that insurgency can be defeated. Initially, we see a lot of insurgent attacks and so forth. But now, America, who is even championing the cause, is now saying we are withdrawing our troops because we have defeated insurgency.
I mean, in Syria, so the question will be at what cost? I hope that's how, we hope we never get there. I think that's the prayer that Nigerians will have on their lips. So, former IGP, you should know about security. I mean, part of the criticism, your party came, you know, guns blazing 2015, saying we're going to fight, fight Boko Haram. Security was on the top burner. In fact, it was like #1 agenda. In the president's inauguration speech in 2015, he immediately commanded, the soldiers or his military chiefs to move to the northeast. And indeed, we did see that, things seem to come down a bit. But now, it's gone back to where they were. How do you defend that? Because it's now one of the campaign issues in 2019.
Well, thank you very much for raising this issue. It is most surprising, really, to say that insurgency has resurged and the state of insecurity has returned back to what it was in maybe prior to 2015. Let's not forget, insurgency was not just or Boko Haram attacks were not just for the northeast. Remember, the northwest was affected. Even Abuja itself, that is almost in the central part of the north central part, was also affected. You recall, me and you here would hardly would want to see ourselves in the market. You also know too well that the military have done their best from 2015 to date. In fact, for anyone to say that the military is untrained and ill-equipped or unequipped, I think it is perhaps an indication that one is ignorant of what is going on. Let me give you an example. For one to say that you will bring mercenaries to fight for our country, I think it's like taking us back to the colonial eras. A situation where we have a military that is well-trained, a military that has been able to cage, because that is what has happened now. They have caged Boko Haram to restricted or to certain areas. And that is why they are the ones suffering it most now, because they hardly can get to the soft targets we're talking about. So it means the military has achieved one of its greatest purpose, to protect the soft targets. So
you talked about,
we cannot ignore.
You talked about where we were in 2015. And, I don't want to go into the argument, because some people will say that just before the elections, it would seem that the PDP government, which was leaving power then, had done quite a bit before, so that, the elections could take place in Borno State. We also recall that, yes, indeed, I did acknowledge that things did pipe down initially. But now we're saying that...
You mean, do you go to the market fearing that Boko Haram may strike?
We're saying that...
Do you fear that your children may go to school
are we not going to acknowledge, and may not come back? Are we not going to acknowledge that in...
When last did you hear attack in Kano? When last did you hear attack in Bauchi?
Would you let me finish asking this question?
That's fine.
Are we not going to acknowledge the fact that we did indeed lose some soldiers? And it was the manner in which we lost them was very embarrassing. And,
I've just explained to you.
We see people crying. People are still leaving Baga. People are still asking. They went back, but they've returned back to the IDP camp. So you have to ask, what is going on?
Yes, I still repeat.
Yes.
Losing a life, and particularly for a soldier, it means a lot. It is a cause for concern. But there is no way you can judge or measure an achievement without looking at what it was or what it is now, and then what will happen next. If you compare what it was, remember in 2015, because of the insurgency, the elections had to be postponed for 6 weeks. Are there any talks about postponing elections now? Are there any talks about not holding elections in Borno or Yobe or Gombe? So there's no basis for the comparison. Those of us
Are you aware what your party promised in terms of security? Would you say that we're there?
Of course. It is very clear. The president visited Borno not too long ago. He visited even victims of among the soldiers in the hospitals, and he assured the leadership. You remember, military leaders, the commanders, met in Borno, and he addressed them, and he assured them that the best of the equipment they need will be supplied to them so that this war gets
Former IGP, you do know that, in the military training, military equipment is not supposed to be supplied to the troops while they're working. It's supposed to be supplied to them for training first, for them to get used to, especially if they're new equipment, and they don't just move new equipment to the field.
No, but war tactics change. When the tactics change, it is most likely you have to bring in different equipment. So
do you think you'll get good results with that?
Oh, absolutely. Already, I mean, like I said earlier on, when last did you even hear an attack on the military? So we are making a lot of progress. This is something that is indisputable. And the people of Borno have come out to express it. People of Yobe, I could recall, if I had to visit Kano in 2014, close to my being the Inspector General of Police, if I get to Kano, I will have to go to a police barrack where I will park my car, remove my uniform, change into a civilian dress, and then go inside the city and see my associates. But all this is gone completely. People go about their lawful business, social business, and then we can't even accept that there is quite... Look, this is what is happening if we allow the insurgents to succeed in their propaganda. What will happen is that we will not appreciate what has been done, and even the soldiers may not have the strength to do what is expected of them.
Well, your candidate has promised. I don't know if you still want to respond to
Yes,
him.
I want to say something.
By all means, go ahead. But you have very
let me clearly say that if you have followed the Boko Haram insurgency and you have you are very familiar with their strategy, the Boko Haram has been changing strategies from time to time. From the beginning, they were only attacking the police stations. From there, they moved in when Nigerians were saying, if you people are really Boko Haram, why you are not attacking schools? So they moved to attacking schools. Boko Haram, in their hegemony, they had a spokesperson who is known as Abu Kaka.
The point you're trying to make...
what I'm trying to go is to show that strategies of Boko Haram continually change as to what they want to achieve. Now, if they want to cause terror within the town, they use soft targets. Now, they have realized that there is no need to bother themselves with soft targets. If they finish the hard target, then the soft targets will be easy prey. That is the point.
But the thing is, some people will say that the Boko Haram grew under your watch, that it was very difficult for the PDP government to recognize that this was a looming danger. It was seen that at that time, the president was more concerned about, a certain part of the country not in tandem with him, and so he was wondering whether that was a way of them showing their displeasure.
No, I think that is a wrong narrative, because the president has acknowledged Boko Haram, and he has gone strictly after them.
Yes,
because first, the president had approved, had sought for a loan of $1 billion, which the items were bought. And those items were bought from different places, from Belarus, the items were used to checkmate. And when he was saying something about mercenaries, there were no mercenaries, but there were people who were, if we buy, like I said, items from a particular country, because our soldiers are not trained in using such equipment, they come along and teach our soldiers
This is a little
on the job.
embarrassing. That's, modern day equipment that our soldiers need to fight, we have to get them just when Boko Haram comes into the country or starts to ravage the country. What different thing are you going to do from what they have already done, apart from buy equipment and bring people to come and operate the equipment?
No. We are not even talking about buying equipment now.
Yes.
Because at least the president has said he has, although there is controversy as to whether the money was approved, whether there is any money for buying of equipment, but we expect that there should be equipment on ground. Now, if those equipments are on ground, the issues now will not be of buying equipment, if the right equipments are purchased. Now, the military need training and retraining, because this is not a conventional warfare, like I said. And because it is not a conventional warfare, you need to really address this issue.
So you're going to train them? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Is that all the promise? You're going to train them and buy equipment?
And of course, dislodge the insurgents.
The question is how? But never mind. I mean,
that is a military strategy.
We've spoken on security long enough, because I think what the Nigerians want to know is, what are you going to do differently? We're already saying, you know, there was a regime change in 2015 and it was based on certain promises. Now you are contending to come back in 2019. What are you going to do differently from what you did before 2015 that, you know, got you kicked out of power?